Okay, in this episode, this Penn Point starts right now. This episode of Penn Point is brought to you by the National Fight Against Drunk Driving. Over the limit, under arrest. Who wants to spend the holidays in jail? As you might know, clean water is one of the scarcest resources in the world. We need it to survive, and yet nearly 1 billion people don't have access to it. We want to get involved, so we're partnering with Charity Water to make a difference. Charity Water is an organization that donates 100%. That's all, 100% of the money it raises to building wells and bringing clean water to communities in need. They're leveraging technology in really creative ways to mobilize people around the cause, and we want to get you, our viewers, involved. Each show on Revision 3 is reaching out to our viewers to raise money to build wells. It takes $5,000 to build a well that can provide clean water to an entire village. $5,000. That's not, that's what a VCR cost in 1978. $5,000 to build a well to provide clean water to an entire village. So we need your help to make a difference. Go to revision3.com/charitywater to learn more and get involved. With both hands free, it's a whole different thing, not having this thing. But I promised in an earlier Penn Point that I would talk to you about coffee jello. And I think coffee jello is a really important thing for everybody in the country to know about. And I've told this to some foodie people. This friend of mine, Kate, who's is a cook and a fabulous cook, and made us an apple pie, and she's fabulous. And I told her about it, and she said she's going to make it. But at the First Congo, as it was called, the First Congregationalist Church in Greenfield, Massachusetts, which I attended as a Ute, as Bobby Reynolds would say, greatest talker on the West Coast, greatest sideshow performer. Bobby Reynolds always said Ute. As a Ute, when I was young, I would go to church, and after the service on Sunday, they had coffee hour, where they had those big vats, those big, silver containers with a little spigot of coffee, black battery acid coffee. And then when coffee hour was over, some of the women in the church, and my mother was one of these perpetrators of this, would take all the leftover coffee. This is leftover church coffee that's been sitting out with a little burner on it, for 2 hours, Then they would take it and they would pour it into this huge pot, and they would add to it like Knox gelatin. Black coffee with Knox gelatin, and then they would pour it or ladle it or something. I don't know how they had the strength, but these are New England women at a church, so they have the strength of 10 men. They would pour this into those aluminum industrial pans, that are like pans. That's the word. Long, rectangular, shallow pans. They would pour, gallons of this coffee with Knox gelatin into these cans. And then they would put them in the refrigerator, where they would harden up, and then at the church suppers, which would be that's on a Sunday, like on a Tuesday night, they'd have a church ham and bean supper for a fundraiser, which I also loved. And they would serve these squares of black jiggling jello. And they would then, the women would take this, and the men too, would take this black jiggling jello, and they would spoon sugar on it, right? Because it's black coffee. They put sugar on it, and then whipped cream, like out of a can, whip it like Devo, out of the can. And they would serve these little black squares of speed. I mean, just speedballs, just like, River Phoenix fucking church speedballs of jello. These little jiggly, jangly thing's a speed. It was just speed they were giving you. And somehow, you know, it's like when I never had a drink of alcohol in my life, but you read about these like jello shooters or jello shots, you know, where people can get drunk and die more because it's, you can't die more, but I mean die easier because the alcohol is in jello, you know, like jello like takes, I mean like there's probably like acid jello that like Oswald or Ken Kesey had or something. Probably there's like cocaine jello, like, but I'll tell you, this black jello at the First Congregational Church in Greenfield, Massachusetts, little jiggly speed nut, you know, just, and then, you know, you'd have all these, you know, ham and bean dinner speeding, casual covered dish supper Christians eating this little black speed of jello. And when I got out of New England, I thought like I was an adult, I was grown up, I was hitchhiking around. I thought you'd go to like any diner and ask for coffee jello and they just lay it on you. And you know, they won't. I'm just telling you right now, do an experiment. Go to a diner near you, you know, go to Denny's, ask them for coffee jello, they'll think you're out of your fucking mind. But someone who's watching this, I hope you make coffee jello and you tell me about what it's like to eat that little jiggly speed, because I won't touch it, because I saw what it did to, you know, my mom's friends. Far too many people do not understand that alcohol, drugs, and driving do not mix. The message is simple, guys. Drinking and driving, over the limit, you're under arrest. Don't put yourself or others in danger. Law enforcement officials will be out in full force all over the country from December 16th through the 30th, cracking down on drunk drivers. Beyond putting your life at risk, you cost yourself a bundle of time and money, jail time, the loss of the driver's license, higher insurance rates, and dozens of other unanticipated expenses from attorney's fees and court costs, car towing, and repairs, lost time at work. The list goes on and on. The worst, best part of drinking and driving is that it can be avoided so easily. You can still go out and have fun, just plan ahead. If you're going to drink, designate a driver, call a taxi, use mass transit, or find some kind of sober ride program.